Hello guys, today you get a 2-for-1. I already outlined what I want the colors to look like and everything else in very light colors so that I can have a guideline because my reference picture is on my phone and I can't record while looking at it, and I decided to change the lip colors of my reference color. So in order for me to remember like the base tones and areas, I already did my sketch and already laid out the base tones that I wanted. I'm going to start off with the top lips first. I decided I wanted to go with an orange, but I didn't want it to be like a super bright orange. Like, I don't know, I wanted it to be like a muted kind of neutral orange but still bright. So I'm going over it with a mixture of peach and orange, and a little bit of pink to kind of add like that vibrancy to it. And you're gonna see as it develops, it's going to have layers. Like, watercolor is a medium that definitely requires layers, because you want to be able to see like the transparent layers for this medium so that it appears to be more vibrant and more three-dimensional. I had an idea for this TikTok that I wanted to do, and that's what I'm painting these for. And once I'm done painting everything, then I'll post a TikTok in my YouTube shorts for you guys all to see. By the way, I appreciate the support in all my YouTube shorts. Like, my views on YouTube went up like crazy within the past few months since I've been uploading YouTube shorts in between my main videos, because I just can't sit down and paint for hours on end and record and edit and post like every single day or every single week. So being able to share my TikToks onto YouTube just to have like some type of content to connect with you all has been really great. But because I've gotten so much positive attention from my shorts, I decided I want to record like some actual videos intended for the YouTube audience so that my page just doesn't look like a whole bunch of shorts. I kind of wish that the shorts were like separate from like your main videos. Like, you can see the videos and you can see the shorts separately. Maybe it's like that on an actual computer, but I'm looking at this on my phone and I use the desktop version of it. So yeah, I think for this third layer, I should say, I mixed in the regular orange that I was using and this kind of orange red color. Yeah, it's orange and it's red at the same time. I don't know a better way of explaining it other than saying that it's orange red. I would compare it more so to the color, well, the inside colors of a blood orange. Like, it's still orange but it's red at the same time. So I'm just adding in these details so that when I glaze over it and add the final layer, it just looks better. I didn't want to make her lips too shiny because I prefer matte lips, but I didn't want to make her lips like too glossy because then I wouldn't be able to add all these fun details that I want to add to the varying weights that I do. It's really fun to work on larger body parts like this. I know that sounds morbid, but I've been learning how to do more anatomy, and I'm used to painting faces and like facial parts on like a smaller scale. So typically I'm not adding all of this detail into a regular thing. I'm only adding detail like this for the larger views. So yeah, I'm working on the tongue now. And I did use a reference for the tongue, but once I got out the base colors and left out the whites, I kind of just went my own way from there based on what felt right to paint and how it looked with the rest of the picture. I used the peach as a base and I'm going over it. I'm alternating between pink and orange. So orange is what I'm using for the middle and pink is what I'm using for the outer edges. And I'm doing that to make the tongue look a little bit more dynamic and three-dimensional and not just this flat pink thing kind of hanging out of this girl's mouth. Yeah. I'm using hot pink. I know that's not quite the color of the tongue, but trust the process. I'm gonna blend it out and everything is gonna come together and it's going to look nicer. When watercolor dries, it tends to look a little bit lighter than it does when you're painting it. So yeah, I decided for this painting I wanted to show you guys multiple angles. So here I am trying to hold my phone and paint at the same time. The tripod that I was using, I tried to set it up and it wasn't working out the way that I wanted it to. So I'm holding my phone in one hand and painting with the other and trying to show you guys my paint palette and the actual painting at the same time. So I'm sorry that is a bit shaky. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this painting. This was a fun thing to work on. Lately I've just been hating most of my art. That's why I haven't added any new items to my Etsy shop, because I'll go to paint something and I'm like, yeah, this was fun to paint, but I think I'm gonna keep this in my sketchbook. But this one I think I might add to a sticker set, just because it looks nice and it was fun to do, and here I am sharing it with you guys on YouTube and you guys get to see the whole process and how everything is looking. So yeah, this is the final look. Nice bright orange lips, pink tongue, and yeah, teeth. That's what that looks like. Here I am moving down to the second one. That's why I say you guys get a twofer today. I'm actually painting two things in one session because they're slightly smaller and it's not a huge scene. I use pink as a base. I wanted these lips to be like a deep purple but have a little bit more dynamic flair to it, because I found that to be a little bit more interesting. So you're gonna see me alternate between pink, yellow, blue, a magenta kind of purple, and then finally glaze it over with a violet purple and everything. I know the tongue looks kind of green right now, but that's just to help create undertones for some of the veins that you have in your tongue. Below the skin is very thin, so you can see a lot of veins and stuff. I didn't really want to get too graphic or too specific with the tongue. I just kind of wanted to lay out the idea that I wanted and kind of go from there. I'm not a huge fan of doing like super realistic work. I like taking a realistic concept and stylizing it in a way that looks more interesting to me, and I found this project to be really fun. So even though I am using like actual references instead of just getting an idea and drawing and going from there, it was easier for me in my own personal style to kind of do things this way. I'm adding blue in just to help add more dynamic when I glaze over it with the different degrees of purple. And because yellow is on the opposite spectrum of purple, I figured I would add that in as like an undertone so that it could have like a brighter look to it. I know that real lips and real lipstick doesn't look anything like this, but it's just like a thing that I wanted to do for fun, and I sincerely hope that you guys enjoy it. I shortened, so I filmed this on a time lapse at 5 times the speed, and then when I went to go edit it, I doubled it. Well, I didn't double it. I made it like 1.5 speed. So this took a few hours to paint, but not as long as it typically takes me to paint like a full concept idea. Like these were kind of like a quick sketch, but not as quick as it appears. And then I shortened this video down to about 16 minutes, and yeah. So I'm just kind of going over the details of the tongue with a hot pink again. I know tongues are not this vibrant, but trust the process is going to smooth out. I have to go over this with darker layers because I originally sketched these in my sketchbook, and I just got some graphic, I got graphite paper, and I used the graphite paper to transfer over my original illustrations from my regular sketchbook over to this watercolor sketchbook. And it's a very dark and heavy compared to how I typically like to draw and transfer things. So that's like a downside. If you are a watercolor artist and you want to transfer images over from your regular sketchbook to a watercolor pad using graphite paper, you are going to have to deal with these darker lines that are going to have to shine through, and it's going to cause you to have to paint heavier than you typically would. So that's another reason why I chose to go with darker colors today. One, because I like darker colored lipstick personally. The main lipstick that I tend to wear when I wear lipstick is black. But then when I add on other colors like red, purple, and gray is what I currently have, I tend to do like an ombre look with my black lipstick still intact. And that is my personal preference and bias. Here you can see like those original green undertones peeking through, but it's not super obvious. Again, I have to go over it a little bit heavier because of the graphite lines, and I'm trying to keep a lot of whites intact. I do have a Posca pen that I have been using for highlights lately, but I feel like with watercolor it's best if you want to have highlights just to kind of leave certain areas alone. Now I'm going over this with that magenta. It kind of looks red in the light that I have here, but it's like a reddish purplish color that's more vibrant and lighter than like a violet color. So you're gonna see the difference in just a minute when I glaze over it. Glazing is a process in watercoloring where you will do an underpainting and then you go over with another layer of paint in a different color, and it kind of blends together to create a little bit more dynamic texture. So but the glazing layer isn't as heavy or as dark as the original layer. It's just it's a different layer of transparency. I'm sorry, I don't really get how to explain proper painting terms to people because I'm mainly a self-taught artist. I've taken some classes on Skillshare, and I've learned a few skills over the years through different watercolor journals and how to draw books, how to paint books, and YouTube videos and all of that, but I never really learned how to teach people how to paint and like the technical terms, and I cannot explain like art terms to you guys in a articulate art teacher-esque kind of way. I know how to paint the things that I know how to paint, and everything else is an experiment, and I'm just learning and growing over time. So yeah, I really like the texture and how vibrant the lips turned out, and how I was able to keep the overall shape of the lips and have like that sort of rounded effect to make them look a little bit more 3D. Here I am adding in a mixture of a cool gray and blue for the teeth to outline them, and so I'm also going to blend it out and make it like part of the actual teeth, because teeth are not super white. Sorry about that. Teeth are not like super white naturally. They're actually like different shades of yellow. And like when you see people with naturally white teeth, it's actually like a very pale yellow-ish, grayish tone. People don't typically have movie star white teeth like this unless it's veneers. But for the sake of transparency layers in this watercolor piece, as well as trying to match the reference and trying to not have the details of everything else compete with the details of the lips, I just decided not to do all of that. But yeah, here's the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed these lips. They were fun to paint. And see you guys next time in my next video. Bye.